Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. Today, we are going to be checking out the brand new Core Strength gear set that just released with Year 8 Season 1, Rise Up. Between tons of requests that I got from you all to do a deep dive on this and sheer curiosity on my own part, I knew that I needed to prioritize getting a video on this out because, long story short, the new gear set for this season is both incredibly fun and incredibly strong. It truly revives the hybrid category of build making that the Division games used to have quite a good few options for, and yeah, from the testing I've done so far, I'm just having a ton of fun with this new set. So, to be very clear about the intentions and goals of this video, we are going to be taking a look at and explaining the Core Strength set itself, right, describing how exactly it works, and then I want to give you a peek at some first builds that I cooked up for both PvP and PvE. I'm not promoting this as a build video, though there are still upgrades and tweaks I could make to these builds. There are absolutely far more combinations out there to try out and discover, but more than anything just to show you where my mind goes to when building with this new set, and maybe just for some inspiration as to what combinations you all could come up with. That is really what I'm getting at with today's upload. So yeah, we'll get right to it. If you enjoyed this one, you want to see more from me on the Division 2 moving forward, then be sure to subscribe. A big shout out and thank you to our channel members as always. Thank you so much for everything that you do and your support in allowing this community to grow. Without further ado, though, let's dive in. Real quickly, before we take a look at the set itself, I just wanted to tell you how you can get this new gear set. Of course, it is the featured set for this new season, so in the Rise Up caches on your season pass, or that you can buy from vendors, you can get it there. But the easier way is that they have automatically added this to the targeted loot selection in modes like Retaliation or Countdown or Summit. Run a round or two of one of those, you should have a good few pieces to start with. And then additionally, this has changed a few times over the past few seasons, so I just wanted to clarify. If you want the blueprints for Core Strength, you get that by completing these individual objectives on Journey Mission 7. As you can see on the right side, these different ones award you with the gloves, chest piece, all of that stuff. So yeah, no crafting until you get to this point. But here is the set itself. Let's walk through what exactly it gets you. For the 2-piece bonus, you get 10% weapon handling. For the 3-piece, it then very much leans into the hybrid archetype that it is, granting you 5% weapon damage, 5% total armor, and 5% skill efficiency. And then the 4-piece talent is called Core Exercise. It says for each core on your gear pieces, you receive 40% of the other 2 cores bonuses. Skill tiers count as 15% skill efficiency when these bonuses are applied. All pieces from this gear set, apart from the backpack, will feature random cores. So, in case you are not sure what it is referring to when it says cores, it's your core attribute. Right on this chest piece, I have a skill tier, and so by running the 4-piece bonus from just this one item alone from the chest piece, by having a skill tier core attribute, I'm also receiving 6% weapon damage and 68,000 armor. Or, if I did have weapon damage on here, then I would be getting 68,000 armor and 6% skill efficiency, right? Regardless of which core you have, you will always receive 40% of the other 2 cores. So that's it. It's quite simple, but just that alone opens up so many doors in terms of build combinations and possibilities. And this truly, I think, opens up a path for hybrid builds to finally shine in the endgame, which is really exciting. That was always one of my favorites build avenues back in the Division 1, for example. But at least for a long time, they've never been able to shine in Div 2. But I think Core Strength really does change that. As far as the 2 amplification talents you can get, the chest piece comes with Inner Core, and it increases that percentage from 40 to 75%. So this is the one that, at least for a lot of builds and a lot of people, I think is going to make sense to run, because that means that by having a skill tier on this chest piece, I'm receiving just over 11% weapon damage and 127.5 thousand armor. And once again, that is just one piece. You then take that and apply that to your entire build, all of the cores that you can get, and you can very easily inflate yourself up to having a lot of damage, a lot of armor, and some very powerful skills. As far as the backpack, this one has been a bit more controversial. It comes with Outer Core, and it says this talent does not provide a direct change to the Core Exercise talent, but it features 3 core attributes. So if you scroll up, much like the Memento or the Ninja Bike or the more recently added Harrier Pride, this non-exotic backpack will come with 3 core attributes. That does mean that you have no regular attribute to roll, and it does mean that you're leaving yourself without a distinct backpack talent, which in many cases can be disadvantageous. But again, keep in mind, by having 3 cores, you are still getting 0.75% if you're running the chest piece for each of the three, right? So it's a lot of overlap, and I do think that this has some more use cases than at least some people have been claiming that it does. But yeah, between this and the chest piece is the one that is definitively the more powerful one. So when it came to me trying to come up with something fun to use with this in PvP, I thought, well, because of all of the raw stats that are going to be at my disposal here, I might as well try and lean into what is already one of the most powerful metas and types of builds in PvP at the moment, which is high armor and armor regen. But again, the beauty of core strength is that you don't have to actually spec into armor, and you can still get a lot of it on the side. And so, like you'll see in the gameplay, is this going to outcompete or beat, you know, the standard bighorn armor regen build that has been in place for years now? No, but it does compete, and I think that is enough of a feat on its own, given how much of an iron grip that build type has had on the meta in PvP, like I said, for a long time. So this is the build that you saw me running in there. One more time, I will give the disclaimer, this is not a finalized thing, I'm still testing it out, but this is what I've been running so far. Controversially, I am running the core strength backpack on here, which again, some people think is completely not worth using whatsoever. And once again, in a lot of cases, I would agree with that because you are missing out on a talent. You could also run a Memento or a Ninja Bike or a Harrier Pride and still get the 3 cores and get more utilization out of this slot. But the reason why I'm running this is because this build is spec'd into armor regen. I have the new Investor exotic mask here to get the armor regen bonus from the talent. Ideally, I would want a 3rd blue attribute there to be able to get 1.5% in PvP, because if you switch to the PvP stats, this is 0.5%, not 1. But essentially, what this build is getting at is that I could run 6 skill tiers, which I only have 4 right now, but once again, I'm still trying to perfect this exact build. 6 skill tiers, get close to 2 million armor, and then ideally have 2.5% armor regen, 1 from Bellstone here, and then 1.5 from the Investor. Then I just have crits rolled everywhere, right, on my stats, on my mods, and by utilizing the capacitor, I'm double dipping on damage because I'm getting so much damage from core strength, but I'm also getting weapon damage for every skill tier from the talent. And so again, with this current setup, my capacitor is dealing 164,000. If we go over to the stats and down to armor, I'm getting over 2 million armor and about 70,000 armor regen. And once again, that is without the Investor having that 3rd blue stat, which would give me another 0.5%. So again, is this perfect? No. Am I going to make tweaks over time? Probably, but this is the direction that I'm taking things for PvP, and so far it has been a lot of fun to essentially just be like a walking tank, but then also have a lot of damage and be able to chuck out some very powerful skills. You're just a monster. Alright, and then as far as PvE, this is very much more of just a fun little wacky idea that I had. Don't replicate this and think that you're going to suddenly become the meta contender endgame player, but leaning into the idea that core strength allows you to be strong in more than just one area, right, excel in more than one stat, I thought, why not make a tanky, decently damaged, but also kind of combat medic based build. So I've got 6 skill tiers, including Technician. I'm running Birdie's Backpack to be able to do those quick revives for teammates, but also overcharge myself when I do perform those revives. I'm then running a full shield, which is powerful enough because it is tier 6, but when it's overcharged, it then becomes invulnerable. If you didn't know, that is a perk of overcharging a shield. And then I just have some sparing crit rolls spread around the build, and I'm running the Tempest to be able to output, again, just a little bit of damage while I'm on the front lines. But yeah, I tested this on Legendary. It really just allows you to go around, kind of run around the battlefield, stay on the front line, soak a ton of damage, run over and revive teammates when you can. I also threw on the Demolisher Firefly to just chuck out, take out some weak points, help the team there. Again, I will stress this is a very off meta and just kind of fun little build to make with core strength here. I would love to hear your own recommendations of what you think the strongest applications of this could be in PvE specifically. But one final time, I think this is a pretty good example of how creative you can get with this new gear set, and frankly how much fun I think hybrid builds bring to the table in the Division. We haven't had that focus in the Division 2 for quite some time, but I'm really pleased to see it back here with core strength. Well, there you have it, everybody. That is a look at the brand new core strength gear set that just released in the Division 2, and some early build ideas and iterations that I've had with it so far. Although it hasn't been too long since we got a truly exciting new gear set, right? We had Tipping Scales back in Year 7 Season 2. This core strength set is still absolutely one of the more exciting new releases that we've seen gear-wise wise in quite a while, I think. And so yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it so far. I cannot wait to read some of the comments and get the ideas that you guys have been cooking up, whether it's PvE, PvP. Let me know what you've tested out, what you're thinking. And yeah, it's just exciting to have a set that we can actually kind of be creative with for once, you know? But that is most of what I've got for you all today. Thank you all so much for coming by and watching. I will catch you back soon. But until then, RogueGold. Ow. Oh! We just got a Ravenous! I might not be friendly. Let's go.
Coming to the Division 2.
Let's go!
And